So the market's down today, and we see some more momentum shifting out of the AI space and into some of the more solid infrastructure plays for AI. In fact, you saw some of the companies like IREN doing well today, APLD is doing well. So these are the companies that build the data centers. But when you look at the software side of things, in the software part of the market, you see some allocations out of those markets right now. For example, one stock that has sold off a lot, which we're going to go over in this video, is SoundHound. SoundHound has sold down from as high as $24 a share to as low as $10 today. So you can see that they're at a low here and that they've sold down aggressively. The chart indicates that they are at down just below this 200-day moving average, so having some bearish momentum. And a lot of times, just looking at the chart, you can see if we're bullish, we're holding above this EMA, this blue line, on a bullish uptrend, and you can see that there. And in a downtrend, you're going to be below this EMA. Here, you see them holding below the EMA. So again, bullish, kind of seeing them hold above. Bearish, you see them pushing below. And then you get what is called the double cross. The double cross is when you have them crossed below and holding below the EMA line. Usually it's a 15, or in this case, it's a 15-day moving average. And then the 200-day moving average, that SMA, you can see that they've actually crossed below the 200-day moving average. So that's what they call the death cross, right? When it's further than both of these indicators. And then also, this is where things get interesting. You look on the RSI and the MACD, notoriously when it's sold down this much at these levels on the RSI here, being around 30 right now, and then on the MACD around 14 actually, and then around the MACD, you see them down here as well. It actually indicates more of a buying opportunity, and that you might see a reversal. Now, if you're looking at a buying opportunity for this stock, obviously you'd be looking at a recovery like this, maybe the continuation, something like this. That right there is about a 30% increase. Here would be a 100% increase. But what's the reality of this stock? Well, let's take a look at the financials, really jump in here with SOUN. The first thing that we can find when it comes to SOUN stock is some of the news, right? You got a lot of the market focused on this AI-driven infrastructure that's happening. And some of the articles, they're saying, the high PS ratio, or the high ratio, they got a market cap of $4.5 billion. But while they could have rapid revenue growth, there's a lot of risk right now. What are the risks? I don't even want to really look too much at these third-party articles. We want to go directly to the source. But just for general truth, it is true. This is a voice technology, okay, that they have doubled revenue in 2025, so they got a strong market presence. And it's also true that they're well positioned for the AI expansion. Now, you can see that there's a lot of articles, probably a lot of hype, things like that. Conversational AI is something they're talking about. But when you jump into the AI company, this is where their focus is. It says, trusted.
Hello, Mr. Jones. To get started, let's verify your account. Can you please confirm the code texted to you?
Oh, this is
Yes,
strange.
90614.
Okay.
Great. How can I help you today?
I need a
I
few
gotta
things.
get off this page
First,
almost. So basically, I'm on this page, and SoundHound is saying, it's giving an example of the technology. Okay. So when I'm looking at this technology, it was playing the recording of an AI conversation. Now, you can see some of their partners, and their partners they're in this space of working with companies on optimizing their customer service through not like that lame AI where it's like, say a word that we might be able to help you with, and then you say a word and it's like, sorry, I didn't recognize that. Like, that's so annoying. Those are not AI voice customer service. Those are just automated voice service. And they have a lot of holes. They don't actually hear the user. They actually don't know what's going on. But this company is taking the AI, kind of the same systems that you would hear in like ChatGPT or what have you, and they're putting it into the customer service so that there's no blind spots. The AI is smart. It's going to service you the best it can, and that is where you can see hundreds of leading brands are using SoundHound technology. So you got Kia, Jeep, Fiat, you got BNB, so you got them in the securities and financial services. They're at GoDaddy, they're at Hyundai, Panda Express. Even it looks like they're going into the food industry. Okay, so partnered with some food industry companies as they're at the checkout or at the place where people order. And then you can see they're just focused on a lot of different industries: healthcare, finance, restaurants, automotive, utilities. I find this to be very valuable when it's programmed right and it works well. I personally have been using this in my own business. And if you give me a call, then before you get to me, you're going to have an AI that you talk to, and it's going to ask you, what are you looking to do? And a lot of times, if it's a repetitive question or if it's something that, we oftentimes get questions about, and we have it displayed maybe on frequently asked questions, but people just want to give a call, they just want to get help, then it's going to solve their problem right there. Then if there's something like very, very high level, maybe it could solve it actually, but if it's something that's like so urgent that they there's nothing that the AI knows that it can solve, and we haven't added it to the knowledge base, then it wouldn't work. So I'll give you an example. So, for example, if I were to take SoundHound technology and show you what it looks like in our business. So essentially, it handles a lot of our AI conversations, and it's really valuable because it saves us a lot of time. So this company, SoundHound, is the same thing. You can see they focus on that exactly, and they have been deploying for major companies. Now, here's the thing. Even though they've had really good financial initial success, you can take a look at their stock, and you can just see that at $4.4 billion here, their current financials are not looking as good. You can see their revenue here is around 34 million here. Okay, so you can see their revenue, 42 million, 30 million. Annual balance sheet is, or annual income was negative 350 million. 2025, they did have a positive net income quarter, and their revenue is up 67%. But 42 million a quarter, they may be doing, let's say, 200 million a year. Balance sheet, they got about 400 million in equity, 399 million. So just combine those together, you're looking at maybe like 600, maybe 650 million dollars just a year between their financials and their revenue. If you just kind of pull those together, 600 million a year. They have not a big moat. So companies like Google are doing AI voice, ChatGPT does AI voice, Grok does AI voice, and so 600 million in revenue, even slightly holding or declining revenue quarter over quarter in the last quarter, is not so good. They lost $109 million. Like, how do you lose that much when you're doing software? The idea is that you're not spending so much. And then they have a market cap of $4.4 billion. So just to put that in perspective, they maybe do $0.4 billion, not even $0.2 billion in revenue per year. But their market cap is currently at $4.4 billion. So if you do the math, the PE ratio, everything else, they are not in a position where the value really makes sense from their current levels. Their equity is not that big. And so I would expect, we see the death cross, you see maybe that you would look for that recovery. But ultimately, what I think they should be priced at is more like down here around this $5 range. And we could see them sell down into the $6 to $5 range, which would be about a 30 to 50% sell down. So for that reason, I'm not going to be investing in them. And while we have traded them on and off, and we saw them earlier this year, or at the end of last year, actually, here in October and December, and we were able to have an amazing run this last year and see them run up to $24. We got to catch some of these swings. It was amazing. They're now back down here, and really this value is more or less where they should be at, around a $5 value. So a big sell down potential, not something you really want to see if you're a holder. But to me, just look at some of the spikes, the pumps, the dumps, the big shoot ups and the big shoot downs. Even though they got a lot of commercial contracts, the revenue really doesn't point to them holding this $10 to $20 range. In fact, if they make that move, it's going to be by chance. And right now, that all the indication is kind of considering that they are not a buy; they're kind of a falling knife. Just want to be careful to enter right here, as potentially you see them sell back down to that $5 to $7 range, which would be about a 40 to 50% sell down. So that's kind of why I would just watch out for this one. Of course, a lot of hype. The AI market, everybody's saying that it's bullish. I get it, but just from a financial perspective, if you wanted to look at it from that perspective, and you wanted to stack all the probabilities in your favor, even for short-term trades, when you're trading short-term, you still want the news, you still want the financials, you still want the EMA, the SMA, the RSI, the MACD, all those things combined to help you make a decision. And if you're only trading based on the chart or only trading based on the hype, it's just one less probability in your favor. That, if you're going bullish, at least you'd always want it to have a greater chance of going up than going down. And one of the ways to guarantee that is that they're going to have the value that would attract institutional buyers. And that really is what surges the price. And at their current valuations of $4.4 billion, with their current revenues being where they are, if I was an institutional buyer with $500 million in this company, I would potentially look at selling, because think about the current market cap and saying, wow, $4.4 billion, and they're only doing $42 million a quarter, and they lost $100 million last year. Net income's negative on the quarter. Annually, they actually lost about $350 million, and they only made $84 million on revenue in 2024. I'm thinking that I'm probably not holding my huge position in SoundHound. I'm probably selling out, looking for a better allocation into a company that is seeing the revenues. Because while they've said they've had these contracts for months, for quarters, the revenues just haven't shown up yet. That being said, the long term could be bullish. It's just a lot higher risk than I'd like to approach. And I think that there's more plays in this AI market that would make more sense. So for that reason, if anything presents itself, we may take advantage of it if we see a reversal and then you start to see some more contracts, of course. But when it comes down to some of the greater opportunities in the data center market, in the robotics markets, or in the space tech or quantum markets, I think that there's a lot of opportunities that would be more attractive. And that's why those are the opportunities we'll most likely trade. Now, when we invest, a lot of times it's right at market open when the market dips. So we look for a buying opportunity in that reversal. Or if that's more the trading side or the investing side, we're looking for the red. We want to see those pullbacks so we can accumulate more long-term shares in these markets. So if you want to learn about how to invest in these markets better, learn the technicals, the fundamental analysis, and you'd like to surround yourself with like-minded investors and traders, right now in StockMate, we got a holiday sale. So if you want to join Monday through Friday, our daily live trading sessions in StockMate, you can access them every day at market open with the second link in the description below. And there's a holiday sale. You just click the link down in the description. It will get you access. And you can join our daily live session as soon as tomorrow. We'd love to see you there. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Let me know what you think about SoundHound down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.